In the early years of the U.S. military's involvement in Vietnam, before American troops were fully committed to the fight against the falling dominoes of communism in Southeast Asia, the Army's top brass were haunted by what had happened to the last great colonial power there. Long before they were overwhelmed and forced to surrender at Dien Bien Phu, the French Army had been outmaneuvered and outfought by General Vo Nguyen Giap's Viet Minh. Hiding in the jungles and staying on the move, the Viet Minh harassed and decimated the larger, slower, less mobile French forces. They had an almost supernatural ability to appear out of nowhere, strike quickly and hard, and disappear into the countryside again. The American war planners knew that, like the French, they would find their superior technology and strength reduced, if not canceled out altogether, by the thick jungle, with only a few narrow, twisting roads. The unlikely answer came from the Army's experience in Korea. There, the helicopter had proven a quick and reliable way to transport wounded out of combat areas. Its speed and maneuverability suggested a new kind of use for a new kind of war. In 1962, the Army began training its 11th Air Assault Test Division at Fort Benning, Georgia, the same proving ground where it had developed its airborne infantry capability for World War II. For more than 2 years, the new cavalry practiced its art. The quick insertion of assault forces, weapons, and equipment at predetermined landing zones, or LZs, coordinated with artillery and tactical air support in precisely timed movements. In the summer of 1965, the U.S. Army 1st Cavalry Air Mobile was deployed to Vietnam. Their first base camp was at An Ky in Central Highlands, in the 2 Corps command zone. They would not have long to wait for the first test of the Air Mobile Doctrine. In October 1965, a regiment of the People's Army of North Vietnam, operating in the jungle-covered mountains of Pleiku Province near Vietnam's border with Cambodia, attacked the U.S. Special Forces camp at Plei My, not far from An Ky. Seemingly out of nowhere, in a surprise action reminiscent of the NVA's successful campaign against the French, the enemy emerged from the jungle en masse and laid siege to Plei My. When a nearby unit of South Vietnamese regulars moved in to help the Americans, the NVA ambushed them. It was time for the U.S. cavalry to ride to the rescue. It was time for Air Mobile. The air cav swept into the area where the South Vietnamese units were under attack, using large CH-46 and 47 helicopters to deploy 105mm howitzers to landing zones within range of the communist positions. From there, the howitzers pounded the communist forces, allowing the South Vietnamese to escape and continue on to Plei My. At the same time, the air cav was moving its artillery into place near Plei My. Hours of heavy and deadly accurate shelling forced the Vietnamese regiment to give up the siege and retreat westward, back toward the Cambodian jungle.
We was firing at zero point blank, right? And I never forget this, I fired 143 rounds direct fire. We would shoot them as close as we could. I know when the infantry made their sweep to go out and see how many North Vietnamese had been killed, first shell we fired, we assumed it was the first one. It's hard to tell, but the first one we fired had killed 19 North Vietnamese in a trench. And they had something like 40-some RPGs, the rockets. Can you imagine if we hadn't got them on? And we assumed it was on the first round because they had not one rocket had been fired from that group. So we assumed the first shell we fired got them. And we felt that that was something that probably saved a lot of lives. I honestly can say that, and everybody in my old unit, they can say it too. I had the best gun crew in Vietnam. Actually, I had the best gun crew in the Army.
The U.S. command immediately ordered Major General Harry W.O. Kennard, commander of the 1st Cavalry Division Air Mobile, to pursue and destroy the enemy. The Army had intelligence reports that at least one full regiment of communist troops, and possibly 2, was deployed in the Central Highlands and preparing a major offensive there. Kennard sent the 1st Brigade, 7th Cavalry, into the wilderness west of Plei Mi in pursuit of the retreating North Vietnamese. Unable to see their enemy through the thick canopy of the rainforest, the 1st of the 7th moved west toward the Ai Drang River Valley and the forbidding Chu Pong Massif. As they went, they employed a technique called reconnaissance by fire. Cruising above the treetops, out of the range of small arms fire, helicopter gunships fired into the dense growth, flushing and then reducing enemy units more or less at random as they waited for the chance to deliver the killing blow. But this was Vietnam, and the enemy was not about to be so easily eliminated, and had plans to deliver a killing blow of its own.